Fáilte, and welcome to our next recording of the Táin Cúailgne with myself, Lora O'Brien. We have actually just finished up our Live at 5 chat that we're doing through the irishpaganschool.com every single day through March as a community support. So still a few people hanging around just listening to story time here. I'm just using this opportunity to record the next Táin episode. So if you haven't seen these before, you need to go back to the playlist and let me just need to go back to, there we go, back to the rest of the playlist and catch up, because you're kind of jumping in at episode 8D, which is the one we're on now, which is a short one. So I'm just going to check actually what the next one is as well. Might do the next two actually in the one. So we have Slaying of Lochè, which is actually an interesting one now that I remember that. So Lochè this is one of the adage, which there's only 3 that are about females within all of Irish mythology that I know anyway. And that is basically a death tale. So I think the other 2 are Maeve and Dervagla. So yeah, I forgot this one was next. So it's an interesting, there's actually a really good article by, and I think you can get it online. I happen to have a copy of it printed off right here, by Rank de Vries. And it's the similarities in the 3 female adage tales, because I'm, studying up on stuff like this. So I came across that article, which is really good. So anyway, this is one of those tales, these death tales. So the warriors of 4 of the 5 grand provinces of Éireann bided their time in Reid Lochè in Cúailgne and pitched camp and took quarters therein for that night. Maeve bade her fair handmaiden from amongst her attendants to go for her to the river for water, for drinking and washing. Lochè was the name of the maiden. Thereupon Lochè went, and 50 women in her train, and the queen's diadem of gold on her head. And Cuchulainn espied them, and put a stone on his sling, and cast a stone from his staff sling at her, so that he broke the diadem of gold in 3 pieces, and killed the maiden on her plain. Thence is Rege Lochè, the plain of Lochè in Cúailgne. For Cuchulainn had thought, for want of acquaintance and knowledge, that it was Maeve that was there. Now, I can't help but wonder in this tale whether Maeve knew that Cuchulainn was watching, because in the previous one, if you remember, he had killed her small pet animal, Chockfark. No, not Chockfark. What was it? Toadmal or Toadfall was the type of warrior, which is often translated as squirrel, but could be like a pine marten or any kind of small tame animal, and had also killed her birds. So she knew Cuchulainn was out and about, and obviously out to get her. So I don't know, was poor Lochè like a sacrifice or some kind of decoy that was sent out to check whether it was safe for Maeve to go around? So whether that was a willing sacrifice, or whether Maeve was making use of the situation, or whether Cuchulainn was just being a prick, as usual. Who knows, eh? So that is 8D, the slaying of Lochè. So we are going to go into 8E, and we finish this one, and I might record another episode now while we're here. I'll check how long the next one is as well, and stack them up a little bit. So 8E is the killing of Uala. Early on the morrow, the host continued their way to Cron stream, and they attempted the stream and failed to cross it. And Clún Carpat, the chariot meadow, is the name of the first place where they reached it. This is why Clún Carpat is the name of that place, because of the 100 chariots which the river carried away from them to the sea. Maeve ordered her people that one of the warriors should go try the river. And on the morrow there arose a great, stout, wonderful warrior of the particular people of Maeve and Elil, Uala by name, and he carried on his back a massy rock. Might be meant to be mossy, I'm not 100% sure. um, to the end that Glascrin might not carry him back. And he went to essay the stream, and the stream threw him back dead, lifeless, with his stone on his back, and so he was drowned. Maeve ordered that he be lifted out of the river and his grave dug and his stone raised over his grave, so that it is thence Lia Ualan, Uala's stone, on the road near the stream in the land of Cúailgne. Cuchulainn clung close to the hosts that day, provoking them to encounter and combat. And he slew 100 of their armed king-like warriors around Rowan and Ree, the two chroniclers of the Táin. Maeve called upon her people to go meet Cuchulainn in encounter and combat for the sake of the hosts. It will not be I, and it will not be I, spake each and every one of them from his place. No caitiff is due from my people. I don't know what the word caitiff means. C-A-I-T-I-F-F is due from my people. If you do know, stick it in the comments below. Even though one should be due, it is not I would go to oppose Cuchulainn, for no easy thing is it to do battle with him. The hosts kept their way along the river, being unable to cross it, till they reached the place where the river rises out of the mountains, and, had they wished it, they would have gone between the river and the mountain. But Maeve would not allow it, so they had to dig and hollow out the mountain before her, in order that their trace might remain there forever, and that it might be for a shame and reproach to Ulster. And Burnish, the gap of the foray of Cúailgne, is another name for the place ever since, for it is through it the drove afterwards passed. Now that seems like, that's another example, I think, of how, you know, Maeve can be, you know, dismissed as or held up as like a proud woman, and, you know, putting her people to extra work just so that it, you know, the land will be changed, and the land will be shown that they passed through there. But I believe that particular example is a throwback to Maeve as a sovereignty goddess and shaping the land, because that would be a common, that idea of like changing the landscape around you. I mean, you see it with the Cúailgne all the time, and in the sovereignty aspects of the Cúailgne here in Ireland, and also the Dagda shapes the land, so it's not just goddesses, but it is the province of deity to be able to shape the land. And this is a story where Maeve is literally, you know, changing the Nianikas, changing the lore that all of this is going into, in for her own ends, right? So it could be read that way. I'm not saying it is, but I'm just introducing it because a lot of the Táin, as you know, as we've talked about before, a lot of the Táin has been read as Maeve is a proud and arrogant wagon who, you know, just wants her way all the time, right? And there's a lot more going on than that within the Táin and to Maeve in her own right. So the warriors of the 4 grand provinces of Éireann pitched camp and took quarters that night at Beileit Allen, the island's crossway. Beileit Allen was its name up to then, but Glen Thal, the Glen of Shedding, is henceforth its name because of the abundance of curds and of milk and of new warm milk which the droves of cattle and the flocks yielded there that night for the men of Éireann. And Leasaliach, stone sheds, is another name for it to this day. And it is for this it bears that name, for it is there that the men of Éireann raised cattle stalls and byres for their herds and droves. An army has to, you know, an army that size traveling would have to have their own cattle and all the rest of it along with them for food supplies, obviously. So the 4 of the 5 grand provinces of Éireann took up the march until they reached the Shecher in the west on the morrow. Shecher was the name of the river hitherto. Glasgatlig, Oshir water, is its name henceforth. Now this is the reason it had that name, for it was in osiers and ropes that the men of Éireann brought their flocks and droves across it. Osier is like a woven twigs, basically, I believe. It's something to do with basket making. Brought their flocks and droves across it, and the entire host let the osiers and ropes drift with the stream after crossing, hence the name Glasgatlig. So let me just check how long 8F is. Oh, that's pretty long. Okay, I'll do that one in its own right. So thank you very much for listening to this episode of the Táin Cúailgne with myself, Lora O'Brien. And you will see more like this on the playlist, the Táin playlist that comes up at the end of the video. And make sure that you subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. I'm going to go through the whole Táin, but it might take me a while because I'm doing it as and when I can. So if you hit the bell to get notified, then you'll know when a new video is up. Okay, slán go fóill, and I will see you in the next video.